Welcome back to the GCN Racing News Show. This week, the Vuelta has started. I'll be wrapping up the opening couple of stages, plus the Tour of Denmark, the Ladies Tour of Norway, Tour de Pologne, and another boatload of transfer news and gossip. We will start with the Vuelta a España, which kicked off on Saturday with an 8-kilometre prologue, a technical course around the city streets of Burgos. That TT included a 2.1-kilometre climb, averaging 3.4%. Deceptively hard. I've raced up it myself, actually. The climb kicks at the top, and I could see how it would make things tough in a prologue. Alex Aranburu of Astana Premier Tech held the fastest time for much of the stage, clearly knowing the course well and attacking it from the get-go. Jan Tratnik of Bahrain Victorious came closest to the Spaniard's time, only 2 seconds from toppling Aranburu, but it was Primoz Roglic who eventually romped home to take the win by some 6 seconds and with an average speed of 49.9 kilometres an hour. The winner of the past 2 Vueltas, showing that he's going to be hard to beat once more around the roads of Spain. Aranburu in the end settled for second and Tratnik third. Alexander Vlasov was best of the other GC contenders, finishing in 10th, 14 seconds down on Roglic. Enric Mas nearly misjudged a corner in the heat, however, but came away unscathed with bike and GC bid still intact. Just about, it was a sketchy one, showing just how close to the limit these riders are pushing. Perhaps the only ones who will rue the opening stage are Hugh Carthy, who came home 33 seconds down, and Mikel Landa, Dan's pick for the GC win, finishing 39 seconds in arrears already. Over such a short TT, it would just have been about limiting losses for the majority of GC contenders, but still, that is probably a little more time to give away than those two would have liked. Roglic, though, a force to be reckoned with in TTs. That is his 6th TT win in a row on Spanish soil, and of course coming after taking Olympic gold in the discipline last month. It is also the 15th individual TT win of his career. Moving on to stage 2 and the first road stage of this year's Vuelta, which was always going to be decided in a bunch sprint. Last man standing was Diego Rubio of Burgos BH from the day's breakaway. He was caught with 20.5 kilometres to go, setting the scene for a battle for points and time bonuses at the intermediate sprint with 16 kilometres to go. Astana Premier Tech turned on the gas, aiming to set up Aranburu and put him within touching distance of the Mallorca. Fabio Jakobsen, however, proved too fast to take that one, Aranburu settling for second. The pace ramped up significantly in the final 10 kilometres, with the peloton stretched to near breaking point. It proved too much for Tom Pidcock, who let go in the closing stages, opting for a gentler finish to his day. A crash with 4.2 kilometres to go caused chaos in the bunch, however. With many riders down, it was Bora Hansgrohe most affected, including Patrick Gamper and Jordi Mayos. Adam Yates also lost time in the melee, however, the crash coming 1.2 kilometres from the 3-kilometre mark, where any time gaps are nullified. The final sprint saw Alpecin Fenix and De Koning Quickstep with strength in numbers. Groupama FDJ looking off the pace somewhat compared to their usual lead-out. Demar looked to be accidentally blocked by his teammates at one point, taking him out of the running. Matteo Trentin hit out first for UAE, guarding Milano to the line, and it looked to be the winning move. Milano coming off Trentin's wheel with pace. However, in the end, Jakobsen and Philipsen went round either side of the Colombian to lunge for the win. Philipsen of Alpecin Fenix benefiting from a cracking lead out and also nerves of steel to navigate some pretty small gaps there to the finish. The young Belgian taking his 2nd Vuelta stage win at 23 years of age. Roglic kept the leader's jersey moving into stage 3, ceding only 2 seconds to Aranburu as a result of that intermediate sprint. The race moves into the mountains already for stage 3, finishing with a 7.6 kilometre climb at 9.1% up Picon Blanco. Expect to see some GC fireworks and a better picture of who has brought their best form to this year's race. Catch all the action over on GCN+, geo restrictions do apply. The Ladies Tour of Norway saw the peloton take on 4 stages, including a mountain finish to the Norfell ski resort. American Kristen Faulkner took the opening stage in a bunch finish for Team Tibco TVB, beating Suzanne Anderson and Alice Barnes to the top spot. Jumbo-Visma's Rihanna Marcus went for a solo raid on stage 2 and narrowly managed to hold off the peloton for a popular win. Marcus, so often working for others in the team, always nice to see a rider like her get her moment. She also took the overall lead in the process. She was deadlocked on time with Faulkner, and after initially presenting the American with the jersey, the organisers reversed the decision overnight after taking a closer look at the countback. It was Van Vleuten who would take that overall victory, however, after sealing the win on the mountain finish to Norfell, winning by 35 seconds over Moolman-Pasio, with Mavi Garcia 41 seconds back on the stage. It was a dominant display of form by Van Vleuten, coming off the back of her Olympic, TT and San Sebastian victory. She's obviously in incredible form. The only question remains, how long will she hold it for? Something I'm sure her rivals will be increasingly asking themselves. Chloe Hoskin took out the final stage in Norway, winning after a long battle back to fitness post-COVID-19 recovery, and it was great to see her back to winning ways after 4.5 months away from racing due to the effects of that virus. From Norway over to the Tour of Denmark now, and the first stage ended up in a sprint. A fantastic lead out from Mike Teunissen, probably giving the most prestigious win for Dylan Groenewegen since he returned to competition in May, beating Mark Cavendish and Giacomo Nizzolo on that occasion. It was Remco Evenepoel who was the star of the show, however, showing that he is most definitely back to his best with an emphatic stage 3 solo romp to take victory and seal the overall win and lap the field in the process. Evenepoel looked to be riding without a chain as he went away on his own 17 kilometres from the finish, and that was after recovering from going off the road some 15 kilometres previous. The Belgian then went on to lap the peloton on the closing circuit of the stage as he rode towards the finish line, a feat which is pretty rare in professional cycling. I myself was lapped quite often, but getting lapped by leaders of a race while still in the bunch is pretty rare and incredible. Evenepoel took the overall win by 1 minute and 42 seconds at the race's conclusion, increasing his lead with a win in the race's final 10.8 kilometre TT. Mads Pedersen of Trek Segafredo and Colin Joyce of Rally Cycling, the race's other stage winners. Believe it or not, Stage 2 marked the first pro win for Wout Almeida at the Tour of Poland, if you don't include his victory in the National Time Trial Championships a couple of months ago. He beat Diego Ulissi and Matej Mohoric to the line to move into the leader's jersey. But after breaking his wind duck, the Portuguese rider went on to take another victory on Stage 4, whilst in the leader's jersey too, obviously riding with huge confidence and strength after that initial victory, beating Mohoric again and Andrea Vanderame to the line on this occasion. Phil Bauhaus, Fernando Gaviria and Nicolas Arndt shared out the remaining stages decided by bunch sprints, Gaviria taking his first victory since last September in the Giro della Toscana. Remy Cavagna winning the race's TT, and a brilliant victory too by Julius van der Berg to take the final stage from a breakaway. It was Almeida who would take home the overall victory, however, cementing his lead in that TT and winning the GC over Mohoric and Kwiatkowski by 20 and 27 seconds respectively. Katie Compton has tested positive for an anabolic agent in an out-of-competition doping test. Announced by the US Anti-Doping Agency last Wednesday, the 42-year-old had planned to retire at the UCI World Cyclocross Championships in Arkansas. A testing sample Compton gave on 16th of September last year was actually reanalyzed in this case due to irregularities in her biological passport. Using carbon isotope ratio testing after initially returning a negative result, and in early February of 2021, Compton was notified of the positive for exogenous anabolic steroid. The US cyclocross racer has been extremely outspoken against doping in the past and has strongly claimed her innocence in this case. However, it appears that after discussion with a lawyer, Compton has accepted she has no way of proving that she didn't knowingly ingest a banned substance, and instead of trying to expensively fight her case, has announced her retirement and acceptance of that 4-year ban. Italian Grand Tour contender Fabio Aru has announced his retirement from professional cycling at the conclusion of this year's Vuelta a España. The 31-year-old has enjoyed a successful professional career, having racked up 6 Grand Tour stage wins as he twice finished on the podium at the Giro d'Italia and came away 5th at the Tour de France in 2017. However, he has struggled to replicate such form in recent years. In a press release from his team, Aru gave his main reason for retiring as it being time to prioritise time with his family after spending so much of his career on the road. We'd like to wish Fabio all the best in the future from everyone here at GCN. Moving on to extremely sad news now from New Zealand, and 24-year-old Olympic track cyclist Olivia Podmore has passed away. She was found by police at a property in Cambridge last Monday in what is believed to be a suspected suicide. Podmore had posted on social media that Monday afternoon about the pressures of being a high-performance athlete. Born in Christchurch, Podmore won silver in the team sprint and bronze in the time trial at the 2015 Junior World Championships in Astana, Kazakhstan, qualifying for the Rio 2016 Olympic Games too. She then represented New Zealand in Rio and at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Australia. Tributes have poured in, describing her as a happy, outgoing young woman who would light up the room. And according to those who knew her best, she was a risk-taker with an adventurous spirit and was a phenomenal athlete. From everyone here at GCN, we would like to extend our condolences to Olivia's family, friends and teammates. Just before I move on, I'd like to let you know what we've got coming up on GCN Plus this week. The Vuelta continues, of course, and will be live every day for those of you in Europe or the Asia Pacific, except for China, New Zealand and Japan. Beyond that, we have the Men's Tour of Norway this week, starting on Thursday and running through to Sunday, available to all GCN Plus subscribers wherever you are, as is the Tour de l'Avenir, which is effectively a Tour de France for young riders. Recent winners of the GC include Tadej Pogacar, Egan Bernal, David Gaudu, Esteban Chaves, Marc Soler, Mikel Angel Lopez, Esteban Chaves and Warren Barguil. Not a bad roster of riders, is it? And that's not all. We also have the World BMX Championships on Sunday, available in Europe, except for Denmark, Norway, Sweden and Italy. And we'll have the UEC Men's and Women's Mountain Bike Championships available to all GCN Plus subscribers. GCN Rider of the Week now, and Fabio Jakobsen takes it by a country mile in our opinion. Coming back from that horror crash in Poland and making the podium on a stage at a Grand Tour is an incredible feat. Brilliant to see him back to his best, and I personally think he has definitely got a win at the Vuelta coming his way. From all of us at GCN, it is great to see you back to your old self, Fabio. Other news now, and Mikel Landa's team, Bahrain Victorious, have a new kit for the Vuelta a España due to the fact that the team's usual solid red will clash with the leader's jersey of the race. Instead, the squad will race with a multicoloured fade design with the letters TBV in bold. I like it, I must admit, although the font does make me feel like I've just put on my mother-in-law's extra strong prescription glasses. I'm sure it will divide opinion amongst you all too. However, it's all for a good cause, raising awareness of exercise's role in preventing diabetes and obesity. With the phrase, "Ride away from diabetes and obesity, every pedal stroke is a victory," printed on the back of the jersey. The team are also challenging fans to ride 30 minutes a day, which, if tracked through the team's Strava club, enters them into a weekly prize draw. Richard Carapaz has a new bike already after becoming the newly crowned Olympic champion in Tokyo, and what a new bike he has, swapping the usual silver of his Pinarello Dogma F for a stunning metallic gold. Beautiful looking bike, I must say, and I have a feeling that bike is going to carry him to plenty more victories too. Of course, let's not forget that I did correctly predict Carapaz to take the win, of course, in the Olympic road race during our preview show. Primoz Roglic, also an Olympic champion in the time trial, didn't miss out on a custom paint job. Oh no, check out his Cervelo P5. Perhaps a bit more subtle, the yellow fork has turned to gold with a shimmering ring pattern across the rest of the frame. Actually, whilst we are on the subject of tech, a new Orbea bike has been spotted at the Vuelta, ridden by the Euskaltel-Euskadi team riders. It looks like a new Orbea Aero frame actually, similar design to that of the latest Ordu TT model. I'm sure Ollie will pick up all the details in this week's tech show, but an interesting spy spot there to note. On to the latest transfers now, and just after last week's show was recorded, it was announced that Grace Brown will make a move away from Team Bike Exchange and over to FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine for the next 2 years. Lee Thomas has moved from Movistar to Trek Segafredo. Suzanne Anderson has moved across from Team DSM to Uno X. And it was also confirmed last week that Esteban Chaves will be moving between World Tour teams for the first time in his career. After 8 years with the Australian squad, currently named Bike Exchange, he'll head to pastures new, pulling on pink with EF Education Nippo. Tony Gallopin has also moved across from AG2R back to Trek Segafredo after 4 years at the French squad. He was last with Trek back in 2013 when it was then known as Radio Shack Leopard. Staying with French riders, and Brian Coquard has moved to Cofidis on a 2-year deal, transferring away from B&B Hotels PB KTM. UAE have acquired yet another climber for the next couple of seasons, George Bennett, currently with Jumbo-Visma. That's quite the mountain train they've got for Pogačar now. Formolo, Mashka, Almeida, McNulty, Rui Costa, Bennett, and then Soler for the wet descents. Obviously strengthening their squad around the young Slovenian Tour winner. To finish up now, with the Vuelta already in full flow, Ruvi, who partner with the race, have announced that you can now ride a number of the key climbs on this year's route over on the virtual riding platform. I myself gave the segment on stage 2 a go, a rolling 30.2 kilometres in Burgos. I made it to the finish in 52 minutes and 14 seconds. Give it a go yourself and see how your time compares. The rest of the GCN presenters will be giving it a try 2 each week on various Vuelta climbs whilst the race continues. You should be able to find a link for a month's free membership to Ruvi down in the description below. Right, that's about all we have time for on this week's show. Dan will be back next week. Enjoy the rest of the Vuelta. Have a good one all.